From my home page in Tinkercad, I am going to go to where it says plus create and click there, and I want to make a 3D design. When I'm in my design, the first thing I want to do is go up here to the top left-hand corner and give it a name. I want to include my first name and what I am making. Something like that. Now, I'm going to start my design with a cylinder. I'm going to go over here to my basic shapes, and I'm going to grab my cylinder and I'm going to drag it out on my work plane. I want this to be 1 inch by 1 inch because this is going to create the base for my stamp. So if I click on these corners, it tells me the dimensions. So it already is 1 inch by 1 inch, but I only want it to be 1/8 of an inch tall. So I'm going to drag this box on the top down. There's 1/4 and 1/8. That is ready to go. Now I'm going to go and grab some text. This is where I'm going to put my initials. So I got it from the text area here. The font usually shows up as multi-language. This is too complicated of a font for me to use on ceramics. So I'm going to change the font to Sans Mono. It's a much simpler font. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to click back on my text, is I'm going to change it to my initials. I want to make sure that I'm using capital letters. All right. Now I need these initials to fit on this surface. So one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drag these down until they're less than 1 inch in both directions, and it looks about right. Once I think it's right, I'm going up here to adjust my view a little bit. I'm going to grab these and I'm going to move that up. And I'm looking around. It looks like it fits pretty well. I want to make sure it's centered. So I'm going to select everything that I've done so far. And I'm going to go up here to the Align tool. And I'm going to click on that. And I want it to align with the center dot in both sides. So I'm going to click there and there. I was pretty close. Now it looks good from the top. I want to look from the side, so I'm going to go up here and adjust my view. That is way too tall. I only want my letters to stick up 1/8 of an inch. And since this is 1/8 of an inch, I want to drag this down to where it's 1/4 of an inch so that it sticks up less. I'm just going to grab this guide, the box at the top, and I'm going to take it to 1/4. Now it looks how it should. It's going to make a nice imprint into the clay. Now when I imprint it, I'm going to get a mirror image. So I need to take everything and make it a mirror image. Before I do that though, I'm going to make it one object. So I'm going to drag a box over everything. And I'm going to go up here. Now this groups it, which means they'll travel together. And this joins it. It unionizes it, which means it becomes one shape. That's the one I'm going to use right now. Now the different colors disappeared. It's all one shape according to the computer now. Now I'm going to take my shape, and so that it prints correctly, I'm going to go up here to the mirroring tool, and I'm going to click on that. And I can choose to mirror it vertically or horizontally. I'm going to do horizontally by clicking this arrow. And it changes it to a nice mirror image that will work for my stamp. To make my stamp easier to hold, I want to create a handle. So for the handle, I'm going to use this cone and I'm going to drag it out. When I look at the side view, I see that it looks pretty good, but I don't want that point on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the point using what we call a hole, which is basically a shape that is empty. So I'm going to drag this shape out, this little box. There we go. Now, it's easier to do this. I want my stamp to be about an inch tall, which is where it is now. I'm going to drag it up to where it's 1.5 inch talls. Then I'm going to take this shape, the one that I'm going to use for the hole, and I want this to be up above the plane, and you'll see why in a minute. This arrow up here at the top raises it above the plane, so I'm just going to pull this shape up until it's 1 inch above the plane. I'm going to go to a top view now, and I want this and that to be centered together. So I'm going to move this out of the way. Oop, I resized it, so I'm going to do Control Z. Control Z. Now I'm just going to grab it. Now I want to move this over to this. So I'm going to draw a box around them. And I'm going to use that Align tool that we used before. Oops, sorry. The Align tool. And I want to do Center. Center. Now when I look at the side view, I can see that the box is now all around the cone. And I'm going to hit the Union button like I did before, and that makes the shapes one shape, and that cuts the top off the cone. My last thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to now put the head of my stamp on top of my cone. So to do that, now it needs to be above the plane by 1 inch. So I'm going to raise this one up. And there it says 1. So it's the height I want it to be. When I look at the top, now I can grab both by drawing a box around them. And I'm going to use that aligning tool again. And I'm going to hit Align, Center, Center, and that lines them up perfectly. My last step to finish this is I'm going to be taking this and I'm going to use that Union tool again and I'm going to turn it into one shape. It's ready to export now. So I'm going to give it one last look. This is what my stamp is going to look like. And I'm going to now export it. So I go up here to the button Export and hit Export. I want it to be an STL file. And now that STL file should be in your drive.